Good afternoon and welcome to this short briefing. As you are aware, today is Sunday. I've actually just come out of church. I was having a church event. That is why I'm in my church uniform. But I thought that it's important for FAS to clarify a number of issues surrounding the Barcelona game, which is being organized by the ministry, as well as the comments which have been attributed to the ministry, and the general feeling that FAS is not in support of this game. I think from the outset, I wish to state that as FAS, we have no objection to this game being organized by the ministry. I think they've got the right to do so. And this is obviously their prerogative. However, I think there's a matter of concern, and I wish to state here, there's been an impression created that FAS has been part and parcel of the organization of this game. I wish to state that this is actually not correct, because we only met the organizers, Kings of Africa, last week. In fact, the whole of last week I was actually out of the country. I was in Cairo attending to some CAF assignments. I only came back last night. But the organizers of this game met up with the General Secretary, and that meeting was actually prompted by a letter which we sent to the Permanent Secretary last week on Thursday, when there was a press briefing at the ministry where the game was being announced. And obviously, one issue of concern for us as far as was the use of the 2012 jersey, which I think I'm going to explain, because we have no objection to the team using that jersey per se, but I think we are raising our concern purely on the fact that this game is not a social game as has been portrayed. It's actually a commercial game, because people will be paying to go and watch the game. So in that respect, it changes from being a social activity to a commercial activity. And in the same breath, if you are having a commercial activity, then the rights of FAS or the commercial interests of FAS should obviously be considered. And I think this is where we are saying, if this game goes ahead and there's commercial interest, where are we sitting as FAS? Yes, the jersey is an old one. It's from Nike. It's 2012. But it does have the logo of FAS. And I think this is where we have to respect the copyright as well as intellectual property. So even if one attempted to remove the FAS logo, that jersey still remains a property of both Nike and FAS. So I think we should be fair in the way we respond. In fact, our interest and our complaint, which we raised in the letter to the Permanent Secretary, was very simple. Because at the time the game was announced, we noticed that there were people who were now offering the same jersey on the market. Now, the big question we are asking is, where have these jerseys come from? Was it the old stock, or is it new stock? Has it been printed? And who is selling them? I think it's only fair that we address that issue. And this is why in our letter to the Permanent Secretary, we were quite categorical. We asked whether the ministry, in allowing those who are selling the jersey, have now given immunity against prosecution, because in the past, anyone who's been found selling that jersey has been prosecuted. In fact, if you check your records, you should go and find out. There was a time the former team manager for Zambia national team, Mr. Lusekelo Kamwambi, was actually arrested, and the matter even went to court. As far as we have no problem, we have a brand, it's a copper brand. Whoever wants to use it under our license, we are happy to do so. In fact, we've always collaborated with the Ministry of Sport in the use of our kit. For instance, in last year during the Zone 5 games in Malawi, the ministry approached us. We were providing the team, and we went into negotiations where we asked them to buy the equipment from us. However, that didn't happen, and as a consequence, those of you who remember will see that the team, the under-17 team, were using a different kit in Malawi. Questions were asked, and we did clarify that the ministry had decided to use the different kit from the COP. So this is nothing unusual, it's normal, and I think the point we are raising is that yes, we need to respect the commercial interest of FAZ. Most importantly, to those who are selling this same Nike jersey, if FAZ is sued, and this is a question we also raised in our letter to the permanent secretary, who's going to be liable? Because we should not pretend that there are no commercial risks. I think this is the reality. If this game was a social game, as others are claiming, there is no reason why we should even be talking about commercial interests. But if the game involves people paying, people charging, and there's even an organizer in there who's taking commercial value, who, by the way, has even been extended tax incentives, it obviously confirms that there's some commercial element to it. And in that regard, I don't see why FAZ should not ask for its rights to be respected. So basically, this is why I thought we should clarify that issue of the commercial interests and the risks that we run if we start allowing the trading of this replica. Most importantly, I think as far as we've made very good strides, we've done very well. The whole of last year, we took 5 out of the 6 COSAFA tournaments. All the junior teams did very well. The under-17 qualified to the Africa Cup by being champions of COSAFA. The under-20 did the same. And obviously, the women's team is going to the World Cup in the next 2 months. The men's team is just on the verge of going back to Africa Cup in January 2024. We've at least got 2 games to play with the points that we need to qualify. So, where we are, I think things are looking very, very progressive, and we should support all the efforts. We should be marketing the copper for the women. As I said at the AGM, we are actually introducing or launching the new copper in the next few weeks before the team even goes to the World Cup. Even the men's team will likely use the new brand. So we are going to have an official launch of the new copper product. And that continues to be our mainstay for generation of income. And I think we obviously get government support through the payment for the coach's salary. But at the same time, as far as we should be seen to be striving to achieve financial independence insofar as commercializing some of our products. But what we should not accept is our products being pirated, our products being devalued. We were meeting the organizers of this game because everything has been handled by the ministry. We only met them last week when they paid the Ketesco and the General Secretary. If they are sincere, they should be able to tell you which meetings we attended with the organizers, because at that point we would have guided the organizers on what our expectations were. So to try and link it to one person, I think it's quite unfortunate. And just to answer to the issue you're raising, it's actually quite unfortunate that the minister obviously took a very strong stance, insinuating that, particularly myself, that I'm pretending to be above government. I wish to state here, I'm law-abiding, I respect authority, I respect the ministry, I've always respected the ministry, and I think it's unfair to be pointing fingers and suggesting that we are doing something wrong here. And in all fairness, it will also be helpful for the minister to declare interest in this matter, because the minister and Kalusha come a long way. Even in the elections of 2016, the minister was the campaign manager for Kalusha. And even from his day of being sworn in, he made a very clear statement that Kalusha should come back into football. And consistently, there's been statements from his office that FAS should not exclude anyone. I also want to respond to that assertion. FAS has no reason to exclude anyone. The only thing that stops some people from participating in elections is the electoral process, which is governed by the Constitution. And that Constitution is not a personal constitution. It belongs to FAS because all the FAS members signed up to it. If people feel there are provisions in that Constitution which should be removed to allow other individuals to participate, that is a matter that can be addressed. Whether indeed whatever will be asked to be excluded is consistent with the provisions of the FIFA statutes, I mean, it's not for me to answer. Whoever feels somebody should be allowed to stand, if we have to remove the integrity check, make a proposition, and we'll present it to the membership, and we'll be guided by the rules of football, because that's really not my personal issue. It's a matter that sits with the Constitution. Whether I'm there today, whether I leave tomorrow, the first Constitution will remain what it is. It's got nothing to do with me as a person. Just like the jersey, this jersey for 2012 belongs to FAS. It doesn't belong to any individual. Even the copper today doesn't belong to Andrew Kamanga or our executive. It belongs to FAS. Even when we leave, whoever will come, they will find it. It will be a product that belongs to FAS. Those who will come in will bring in a new product, but copper belongs to FAS, just like the 2012 jersey belongs to FAS. I think let's not trivialize the issues and try and get personal in this regard. This is an institution we are dealing with. It's governed by rules, but just to re-emphasize the concerns raised by the minister, I wish to state categorical that I respect his office. I've always been guided by whatever the ministry wants. If you went to the ministry, whenever I'm summoned or whenever our executive is summoned, we always make ourselves available. But we've never, and I underline never, been disrespectful to authority and the ministry. That can never happen because we submit to the ministry. And that really should not be an issue.